Her name is Adeline, she is 107 years old, and most of them she does not age. To keep the secret, a woman has to move from place to place every 10 years, change documents, and give up relationships. But one day, she meets her old love.
It's my dad, William. Dad?
The next 10-year cycle in Adeline's life is ending, which means she needs new documents, a job, and a home. For instance, a farm in Oregon, somewhere away from the noisy and bustling San Francisco. To carry out her plans, the woman goes to a counterfeit document dealer and purchases a passport, driver's license, and other documents necessary for everyday life. At the same time, the observant Adeline makes several remarks, revealing the actual name of the merchant and advising him not to forget about little things like signed baseballs. She knows exactly how easily the most innocent things can betray a person. Having new documents, Adeline returns to her empty apartment, where only her beloved dog is waiting for her. The woman has no one to talk to, and she tells the animal about moving out and farm plans. It's time to go to work in the local library. Adeline hails a taxi on the street and demonstrates to the driver a phenomenal knowledge of the city, so much so that he even jokingly suggests that she switch places. A surprise awaits a woman at work. Old films will be digitized, so they must be sorted out and prepared for shipment. Adeline willingly takes on this job, but instead of packing the cassettes, she puts one of them in an old movie projector and looks nostalgic at the black and white frames and pages of newspapers flashing on the screen. One of them comes across with a short note about a girl born in San Francisco in the first minute of the new year, 1908. It is Adeline Bowman. At first, the secret keeper librarian was the same as everyone else. She was born over 100 years ago in San Francisco, married, had a daughter called Fleming, and became a widow 5 years later. One day, when she was driving to her parents' house, Adeline got caught in a snowfall, unexpected for this time of year in California, and fell into the river. The hypothermia caused hypoxic shock and caused the woman's heart to practically stop, while a lightning strike on the vehicle restarted it and brought Adeline back to her senses. So much so that a fantastic event happened: the woman stopped aging. Her face and body no longer changed despite time. The first years Adeline lived as before, rejoicing in long lightning and believing everything is due to proper nutrition, heredity, and sports. She even hilariously jokes with her former classmates, assuring them that she uses a mysterious cream from Paris and rejoicing that she and her daughter are mistaken for sisters. However, Adeline is not laughing when the policeman who stopped her for a minor violation takes away her license and promises to give them back only after the violator brings him a birth certificate. You can understand the cop because the driver's license indicates that Adeline is 45, but you won't believe she's older than 29 years. Not wanting to attract unnecessary attention, the woman moves for the first time and gets a job as a secretary in a medical school to try to understand what is wrong with her. Unfortunately, there is no explanation. No matter how Adeline searches, she does not find answers to her questions. However, the woman still falls into the field of view of the authorities. One day, on her way home from work, she is stopped by two men posing as FBI officers, pushed into a car without handles on the doors, and driven to the airport. The men say something about a few experiments, but Adeline isn't about to give up so easily. When the kidnappers are distracted, she breaks the seat, gets out of the car through the trunk, and runs away from them with no shoes. Since then, Adeline has always been on the run, never allowed herself to have long-term relationships, occasionally sees her daughter, who now looks more like her grandmother, and has had a dog of the same breed for many years. She traveled a lot during her long life, but always returned to San Francisco. Adeline explored every street and mastered more than 4 languages. This evening, Adeline goes to a New Year's party with her blind pianist friend. Passing through the spacious hall, Adeline glances at the wall and sees an old photograph of herself half a century ago. At a party, a pleasant man tries to meet Adeline, but she gently and confidently rejects his flirting. A man named Ellis is stubborn. He practically bursts into the elevator to Adeline, entertains her with conversations, and hopes to find out the address of the gorgeous woman. But no, she continues to reject. A few days later, the woman meets her daughter, and she looks for a good nursing home. It's hard to accept for Adeline, as she hoped to live with Fleming on a farm. Well, you must go alone, taking only the dog with you. But for now, Adeline needs to finish her term in the library, where Ellis suddenly appears, a millionaire and philanthropist who donated a rare collection of books to the city. The man again inclines Adeline for a date, acting either with requests or comic blackmail, but achieves his goal only by promising to take her to where she has never been. This mysterious place becomes a sewer, where a cave with ancient ships was accidentally discovered during the work. Adeline is impressed, and when Ellis manages to make her laugh with an unexpected joke, the woman agrees to a second date. However, this does not prevent Adeline from preparing to move out and go to the bank. She wants to open access to funds of a new identity, the one she will become when she changes her documents. The second date with Ellis goes even better. They have a fun time together and can talk about different topics. The man admits that he paid attention to Adeline for a long time, noticing her reading on the steps of the library, but for a long time did not dare to get acquainted. The woman is unsure if she is ready to allow herself a relationship. She even pulls away from Ellis' first kiss and steers the conversation. Still, the romantic atmosphere of the evening does its job. The couple spends the night together. In the morning, when Adeline is in a taxi to her home, the car stops briefly in front of a park bench, and the woman recalls how one day her beloved man was sitting there and waiting, but she did not find the strength to approach him. Tears well up in Adeline's eyes, and she is still not ready to reveal the truth about herself to someone. At home, a new sadness awaits a woman. The little spaniel that accompanied her through life has fallen ill and will have to be euthanized. Adeline cries bitterly, saying goodbye to her pet, and returning home, adds his photo to the album, on the pages of which the memory of all the woman's former pets is stored. Depressed and confused, Adeline tells Ellis, who has come to her house with a bouquet, that nothing will work out for them and chases the man away. In arguments with her daughter, who advises her mother to stop her endless marathon, she explains that there can be no love if two people are not able to grow old together, which means that she will never meet the true feeling. However, Fleming manages to convince her mother, and she goes to work for Ellis to ask him to give her a new chance. It's Adeline's turn to get creative, and she takes the man to an old abandoned movie theater with cars instead of seats and glowing constellations on the ceiling. Both are getting closer, imbued with mutual feelings for each other. Ellis believes it's time to introduce his parents to his chosen one. The couple drives out of town, picking up the man's sister, Kiki, a rebellious young woman who doesn't use cell phones and hitchhikes out of principle. The girl accepts her brother's girlfriend favorably, and everything seems to be going well. But fate has prepared an unexpected test for Adeline. When Ellis's father William sees her, he unmistakably recognizes the woman he was in love with years ago. Fortunately, Adeline quickly understands what to say and says that her name is Jenny, as it is written in the documents, and William knew her mother, who died 6 years ago. This explanation suits everyone, and only Ellis' father, overwhelmed by surging memories, cannot stop talking about Adeline. Even the following day, he continues to remember how wise and beautiful this woman was, how she inspired him, a 26-year-old, to leave his studies as a doctor and pursue his favorite astronomy. It comes to the point that Kathy's wife makes him a scene of jealousy, believing that her husband chose her as a cheap replacement for his beautiful Adeline. The man draws his wife and reassures her, explaining that he sincerely loves her, and 40 years of marriage prove this. In the evening, the family plays Fun Facts, William's favorite game, which he never loses. However, today everything is different because Adeline knows the answer to any question. The laughing man admits he has failed, and the children joke, since this has already happened, then the comet, the appearance of which their father predicted half a century ago, naming after some relative, and which never appeared, will still fly. Before going to bed, Adeline goes out for fresh air and runs into William. The woman asks why he named the comet after her mother. She figured out the code and realized that a distant relative had nothing to do with it. Ellis's father admits that he loved Adeline very much and was going to propose to her, but she disappeared from his life. Adeline, already returning to the house, tells William that her mother loved him. While the man remains outside to ponder her words, Adeline goes to Ellis's room. Gently hugging the woman, he says that perhaps it is too early for these words, but the man is sure that he loves Adeline and cannot imagine his life without her. The woman freezes in his arms. She realizes that she succumbed to tender feelings and became close to Ellis, but is still afraid of this. However, Adeline wants to pause life and try to stay with this man. But everything is not so simple. In the morning, William meets Adeline in the yard and accidentally notices a scar on her arm from a wound he put stitches. Shocked, he catches up with the woman who went for a walk and asks her not to lie to him. After some hesitation, she confesses everything. William is amazed, but he understands Adeline's fear and asks only one thing, not to run away again, explaining that a woman has not truly lived in all her long life. But Adeline can no longer change old habits. She races through the woods to the house, throws her things into her bag, writes a farewell note to Ellis, and leaves before William can stop her. Ellis is running after her. The father asks the man if he is sure he is in love. The son firmly replies that without Adeline, his life would be meaningless, to which William throws him the car keys. The runaway woman at this time also understands that she loves Ellis and no longer wants to hide. She stops the car and calls her daughter, informing her of her decision. Just as the woman turns around to drive back, another driver, losing control, rams Adeline's car and dumps her into a ditch. Is this the end of it? Is she destined to die when a woman has finally found true love? At the same time, it starts to snow. The body of a woman from hypothermia falls into suspended animation. Her heart stops, and Adeline stops breathing as well. It seems that only a discharge of electricity is missing to repeat the situation of 80 years ago. Ellis, who has arrived after the accident, can do nothing about it, but the medical team manages to stick electrodes to Adeline's chest in time and restart her heartbeat. Adeline wakes up in the hospital, where she tells Ellis her secret and confesses her love to him. Adeline lives in her old apartment with Ellis and his daughter a year later. They have a new pet, a spaniel puppy. Going to a New Year's party, Adeline lingers in the mirror and suddenly sees gray hair. Confusion on her face, the woman is unsure how to feel about this. But when Ellis asks from the hallway if she's okay, Adeline loudly replies, "I'm fine."